Oh god. Anyway. So Cannith Crafting. Why should you do it? The nice thing about Cannith Crafting is it allows you to customize items to make them exactly the way you want them. So when I say exactly the way you want them, I mean that. Exactly the way you want them. You can customize what stats go on what slots. Certainly there are some limitations, which is based on only certain items can carry certain stats, but beyond that, you can really customize and make sure your character has all the right items. So, for example, this is my druid here. I have a hodgepodge and smattering of items. I got boots of feather falling and speed, I got gloves of healing amplification, I got a ring of charisma. Sure, lots of great items. But for level 5, I knew I needed on this character, I wanted wisdom and I wanted spell DCs. Both great stats, especially for a caster type druid like myself. My druid has a 26 wisdom, and my main focus is all on my spell casting, so I want to make sure I've got my DCs as high as possible. To do that, I want to make sure I had a wisdom item and something that ups my DCs. Now, fortunately, I can actually guarantee both of those on them by using Cannith Crafting. I crafted myself, for level 5, a mask, so a helmet that gives me 4 wisdom and +2 to all DCs for level 5. This means I've got pretty much statistically the best item that I can get for this level. This is great, and allows my character to do a lot more, especially because this is the character that I play in only high Reaper difficulty. So pushing the Reaper difficulty as hard as I can, I want to make sure got my DCs are high, so my Call Lightning DC is high, my Dragon Breath DC is high, so I can actually participate and help my team out while I'm continuing and going forward. So that's important. That's kind of what you can do with Cannith Crafting. You can make items that are specifically tailored to your character. As well, Cannith Crafting items always count as having a max roll. Whenever you drop a regular item, so say something like this Disciplined Cloak of Intimidate or this Feather Falling Cloak, items have a chance to roll. You can get up to a certain stat. There's a limit, but it's up to a limit. So for example, you can have a level 5 item that drops with +2 to Constitution. Or you can have a level 5 item that drops with +4 to Constitution. Depends on what the roll is and how lucky you happen to get. That's what the Treasure Seeker Elixirs are for. The Treasure Seeker Elixirs increase the chance that you get a higher roll. So for example, I have a necklace right here, which is Hardy Necklace of Devotion, level 5 item with +4 Constitution, random drop, and same thing here, Alluring Ring, Charisma 4, random drop. I got very, very lucky with these items, but instead of being lucky, you can guarantee being lucky by just going and picking yourself up Cannith Crafting. We're going to detail how exactly it works, what you need to do, and we're going to craft ourselves a shield today. I don't know what I'm going to put on it, but it's a mithril shield, so I don't really care. I'm going to put something cool on it. Oh, man. So, getting into Cannith Crafting can seem a little daunting at first. It's an entire crafting system. Plus, it doesn't, as good as the system is, it's not quite as clean as some of the other crafting systems you've seen in other games. So for example, if you've ever played your Lord of the Rings Online, your World of Warcraft, you look at the actual crafting UIs that they have, and usually they have these like weird drop-down menus with like different tiers and things you can craft, that sort of thing. DDO isn't quite like that. It is absolutely confusing at first, so the first thing I recommend you do is grab yourself a crafting planner. This will help you immensely when you're going forward. The one that I use, I'm going to link right here, so that way you can see, kind of how I plan out my items. So, the first step into Cannith Crafting, before you can make yourself an item, is you need to get up your level. How do you level up in Cannith Crafting? Well, you craft, of course. Heading over to the Cannith Crafting Hall, there's one in House Kundrak, one in House Cannith, and also one on your ship. If you have a high enough level ship, you can go and buy it. Inside the hall, there are these little crafting devices. Start off with your bound shards to make sure you can start crafting something, and then click the recipe book. When you click the recipe book, you'll see the different types of shards you can make. Essentially, to level up, just make the highest level minimum level shard, which will only cost you Cannith essences, and keep doing that until you have reached the level at which you need to craft, which goes all the way up to level 34, which is something that I can make, but with a 30% chance. But it takes time to actually get there, but that's essentially how you level up your craft. You could craft the actual item, like the effect shards, but the effect shards are much more expensive. Not only do they cost Cannith essences, they also cost collectibles. So if you want to level, just make the minimum level shards. So make these shards, level them up, get them as high as you can. Once you've made your shard to pick your item level, then that's when you can add item effects. So we're going to make a complex item and see what we can do with it. So first we're going to go to the banker, type in mithril, get our heavy shield here. If you're wondering how to find a mithril shield, I got this one out of the waterworks. They still drop. So this mithril shield, it's bound to a count, so I can't trade it, but it is in fact mithril. Being mithril, it means it only has a 5% arcane spell failure, which is fantastic for doing low-level shield-based stuff on characters like warlocks, wizards, sorcerers, any character where you kind of want to slap on a shield, but you don't want to have to deal with the arcane spell failure. The first thing you do is you're going to head over to your item deconstruction thing. To deconstruct an item, you want to remove the magical effects on it so you can craft on it. So I head over to Courtney de Cannith, this craftswoman. You ask for a deconstruction material, and to deconstruct, you get a dust of disjunction. Boom. This little disc here, or dust, and this allows you to strip the magical effects off of an item, leaving it primed and ready for crafting. I'm going to walk over to my item deconstruction, take my shield, dump it in here, and then disjunct. So by disjuncting it, it becomes a base, it has no stats on it, just heavy mithril shield. Cool. Heavy mithril shield. Nice. Next step is we want to actually craft on it. Let's say I actually wanted to use this item on my character. So I'm like level 6, so let's just say level 6. We're going to start with level 6 shard. Cool. So that's the first step. I start with minimum level 6. Craft. Bam. So I made myself a minimum level 6 shard. I'm going to apply that shard to my shield so I can actually see what I can craft on it. So once I have the shard, you make the shards at the bound device, and I've disjuncted my shield from the item deconstruction. You head over to bound items, I take my shield, I slap it in here, and it says, okay, what level would you like to make your shield? I'm level 6, so I'm going to make it level 6 with the level 6 item. So this takes all the headaches out of the previous system where you had to balance, the stats versus the level, where you say, okay, cool, I'm level 9, which means I need to get a strength plus 5 item, so make strength plus 5, that equals level 9. None of that. Now you pick the level, you pick the stats, and you get an item with those appropriate stats. So I'm going to make it level 6 shield. Cool. So right away for starters, you can see I now have a plus 6, or plus 3 mithril shield. Because it's level 6, that means it's granted as being plus 3. Cool, so we're already on our way to having a good defensive item. The next step is to pick my prefix and suffix, because everything is crafted by a prefix and suffix, like impulsive of, fire guard, or sheltering of healing it. I want to pick something good for my shield. We're going to start with prefix. I can type in prefix here to make sure it's only going to show me the prefixes. I pick a good stat, say I want fortification, maybe I want combustion because I'm playing a character with like a spell power. For a character like this on a prefix, well, that's a good question. I think I'd probably want fortification seems pretty good. Even combat mastery. I'd probably pick something like combat mastery to give myself bonus to stunning with something like this. Combat mastery seems pretty good. So I'd say, okay, I want combat mastery. Yeah, not bad. A combat mastery on a shield would be pretty good. Give me plus to the tactical DCs of all my abilities. Cool, that's what I want. And then I would go, okay, what about a suffix? So then as a suffix, I can say, okay, cool, I can make acid guard so people take damage when they hit me. I can get false life to give me some health. Wizard to give me some mana. Resistances, so I take less damage from elemental attacks. Cool. I can get sheltering to give myself physical and magical resistance rating. I get some skills like intimidate. I can get shield bashing, which gives me an extra % chance to do a secondary shield bash. Great for vanguards. Shield spikes is not that great. It adds extra damage, but it doesn't scale with anything, so I wouldn't recommend putting this on a shield. Same thing with bashing. It adds extra flat damage, but again, it doesn't scale with anything, so I wouldn't really recommend it. And then I could get like death block if I wanted. So I could make like a shield that does like combat mastery of death block or any of those stats that I actually need. So then to determine, okay, cool, I want shield mastery of death block. Great. Now I need to figure out exactly what items I need to make that. So I'm going to walk over here to my bound shards. I'm going to, alright, combat mastery. Combat mastery. Enter. Now it tells me, cool, combat mastery shard. I need to make a combat mastery shard. I need first, it's crafting level 100. So I need to make sure my Cannith crafting level is at least close to 100. I believe you can be 30 levels below, so I need at least a 71. Looking at my character sheet, I have 319. I'm okay. But if you need to level up a little bit more, make sure you do level up to the appropriate level. I need crafting level 100. Cool. So I have that. I need to make sure I have these collectibles. So I need moonstones, I need singed soulwoods, and I need Cannith essences. Great. Picking up collectibles is going to be one of the hardest parts about Cannith crafting. You have to go and collect them from all those silly little pouches and containers that you see all around the world. It might seem super tedious, but these are incredibly valuable. And even if you think to yourself, you know what, I can't be bothered to do Cannith crafting. I don't want to do it at all. So don't. See this item right here? This item that's in my inventory, ladies and gentlemen, this is called the Silver Flame Hymnal. It's a collectible. It's exceptionally rare, and it's also used in incredible recipes, like Wisdom. So if you wanted to add wisdom to an item, like the hat that I made previously, to make a hat that has wisdom on it, I need to collect Silver Flame Hymnals. That means this Silver Flame Hymnal is super valuable. You know who uses wisdom? Druids. Arcane archers who use paralyzing arrows. Clerics. Favored souls. They all use wisdom. Wisdom's a fantastic stat for them, so they want Silver Flame Hymnals. This makes this a very valuable item, because it's considerably rare for a collectible. So if you have these, even if you don't even want to participate in crafting, head yourself over to the Astral Shard auction house, dump them on there, and get some free Astral Shard cash that you can start re-rolling chests or whatever you'd like to do. So that way you can turn these collectibles you don't really want into sweet money. I highly recommend you do that. Then once I see Combat Mastery, cool, that's what I need, and then I also want to make a Death Block. So cool, let's type in Death Block. Enter. Oh, that didn't work. Death? Death work? Oh, yeah, ingredients. Death Block Shard. Cool. I need crafting level 1. Ooh, so you can make it right away, and it takes pure water and amber vials. Cool. Sounds good. Then I can craft plenty of these if I really feel like it, because apparently I have tons of these ingredients. And then I make those 2 shards, I combine them onto my shield, and then bam, I've got a good shield. Now let's just say I level up. I'm now level 35, or not 35, I'm level 30, and I still want to use this mithril shield, but it's only level 6. What am I supposed to do? The nicest thing is, because this has a special material, I can then just go to item deconstruction, I can disjunct it again, so it goes back to clear, and then I recraft it up to a higher level. So once I get one of these mithril shields, I only ever need 1 mithril shield. And I can just continually recraft it. Now, recrafting it is relatively expensive, so ideally you'd want to have multiple different types of mithril shields, but yeah, good way you can actually get your crafting there. So